Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Shine Sis Podcast.
Welcome, guys.
How's you doing today, Candace?
I am doing all right. As you guys will probably notice if you're watching on YouTube, I am not in my normal setup. So we're going to pray that this works out. I'm at my grandmother's, and let's just say I got a bootleg setup right now. But we're going to make it work.
It's all good. It's all good.
Some guests here today.
Oh.
Yes. We have none other than Shawna Valentine with us.
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all
Disclaimer,
so much.
she is family. That's my sis, y'all.
Yes.
Just so y'all know.
Stories for days. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much, Queens, for having me on your podcast. I'm truly honored. Y'all are doing big things out here and really getting the word out on some real life issues in the community and with, just our fellow loved ones and everything like that. So it's just truly an honor. And I just say continue to do what you're doing. And yeah, it's really making a difference.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, sis. We're glad to have you.
No problem.
Like I said, we got you on here because, you're out here doing your thing as well. And we want to find out more about that and your story and everything.
Oh, man, yes. I'm trying. Right now, I have been preparing for Atlanta Meets VA fashion show in ATL. Actually, it's May 15th. It's going to be epic. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what ATL has to offer and bringing
they do a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
That's exciting. Girl, you're going to have a ball.
Right, you better do a big.
Yeah, I'm trying. Look. They need to see what VA bring to the table over there, okay?
Okay, 757 all day.
All day. Right. And also preparing for the 10th annual Beauty and Barber Awards. Wendell Moss is coming, correct, as always. That's coming up towards the end of the year. So that's another wonderful, wonderful fashion show, fashion event. Each year has just been bigger and better. Last year I was a vendor for Unbreakable, my fragrance line, and that was really nice.
And it smells so good. So anybody haven't had any yet, I'm sorry, sis. Y'all better order. Go order. Get you
Shawna, Miss Valentine, Miss MZ Valentine.com. Yes. And it's a nice sale going on right now, y'all. So this is the time to order. So yes, those are like the main two things coming up. And just doing some rebranding. You always got to kind of recreate yourself and make sure keeping that positive energy flowing and, just with the brand itself, uplifting.
Good. And I would say, speaking of recreating yourself and rebranding yourself, as you said, your former military spouse. So can you kind of share that transition from, being in the civilian world to the military life and then going back to the civilian world and just like what that was like for you?
For me, it was very challenging, just to be honest. So, there were a lot of things in the beginning that I wasn't aware of coming from the civilian side, and marrying into, military, being a military spouse. It was just like, I felt kind of blindsided by a lot of the things that I didn't know and wasn't made aware of. To some people, it could be small, like, basically, I didn't know what happened, like what exactly happens, like when I'll just say my husband at the time would go to duty. The civilian side of me was thinking, okay, duty, you're in the woods, you're in the wilderness, it's training, all this stuff. They're showing you survival tactics, army, hoorah, So, and so when when it got to times where I wouldn't hear, from my husband and things like that, I was like, kind of like, hey, what's going on? He's in the woods, he's doing this, he's learning that, he's eating MREs and, So it kind of
not the MREs.
It took networking and really kind of like running into other military spouses and things like that at the PX, the gym, and whatnot for me to kind of get a better understanding to what really was going on. They're like, no, he's done at 5:00, and he has the rest of the day free. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, how is that? Because I'm not hearing from him like he's on, like, almost like he's on a deployment or something, you know? So they're like, no. So I just kind of had to pick up on things, and really do my research and educate myself. When it came to branching off from the civilian world to being an Army wife and being aware, you know, which isn't always a great thing, because of course you would like to know all the ins and outs from your spouse, right? You know, you would think that y'all would talk about everything, that they would be upfront, and it wasn't the case, you know, in my marriage, and so I had to kind of do my own research, which I would advise any spouse, you know, regardless, because you want to make sure you really know what's going on with the military lifestyle. Of course, it comes with a lot of expectations, and whatnot as well, and a lot of pressure. So if I'm telling you right now, my antennas went up, ladies, when he was packing his good shoes, those club shoes in that bag when he was going to duty. I was like, you know, you wearing those in the woods? What are you walking in? Wait a minute now. No, you wear those to church or to the club. Wait a minute. Why are you packing them? You know, so I had to catch on and really be aware when things were not adding up right. And I started asking more questions, which I would, you know, say to any spouse, you know, if that line of communication needs to be clear. You don't want to feel blindsided or even have your spouse feeling like you're not being truthful and stuff. So I just had to learn, like, okay, so at this time, you're free to do whatever you please. And at this time, he was stationed in Northern Virginia, so you know it's a lot to do. So yeah, he was getting into a lot, meeting up with you know, fraternity brothers, things like that. It's very likely other women, and it's just that I just wasn't aware, you know. So yeah.
Now you mentioned there was pressure. So what pressure did you deal with as a spouse?
Oh wow.
And what was your overall experience as a spouse?
As far as the pressures, there were quite a bit. Okay. So you know, you come from the civilian background into a military lifestyle. A lot of people, family and friends, were so quick to, oh, you got to dress like this now. You got to look like this, and I'm just like, I'm me. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? So it was that pressure to, be this, just to kind of fit this persona. And I still don't even understand what that persona truly is, but it's just like, don't wear that. Don't wear this. Oh, your skirt is too tight. Oh, those shorts are not going to work. It's like, wait a minute, they have ceremonies.
Like, I'm not in the military.
I'm not. Right. I didn't take this.
You technically did marry the military, but you're not in the military. So I'm going to be me.
And that was I was kind of resistant initially. Like, I like this. My favorite, skirt. What you talking about? I've been wearing this. I had this for a year now. You haven't said anything, but now we married, and you want to, So it was things like that. Making sure you're presentable. There's military balls, things like that, ceremonies, and you want to look the part, and also you understand that you represent not just yourself, but your significant other too. So that was an adjustment for me. A lot of people presented me with it was like they had baby fever before I ever did, when y'all gonna have a kid? When y'all gonna have a baby? When you gonna get pregnant? When y'all gonna start a family? I'm like, whoa. Can we take this time, especially in the beginning? I'm like, can we embrace this marriage? Can we grow in this marriage before we, procreate and bring other mouths to feed, and before our priorities shift from one another to a beautiful bundle of joy? So all of those things was just so much pressure. Oh, you scared you're gonna lose that little figure of yours, and I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like,
it's in the genes, sis. It's in the genes. They don't know.
Like, have you not seen the beautiful queens in my family, honey? I'm ready, okay? Thickness everywhere, pow, everywhere. Bring it. And that's why I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know. So, and I've always had a, nice shape, pretty petite. So, people always assume that, but that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? And also, it's just like, you don't know what any woman has been through, especially with their body, you know. So for people who say that and who put pressure on other women or even families in general, both spouses, you know, you might want to be mindful. Some people, you know, they deal with certain issues as far as when it comes to procreating, being fertile, you know, all of that. Others, you know, there could have been issues with miscarriages involved and things like that. So I think people just should be more mindful of the pressure and the comments that they are so quick to lash out, you know, especially at newlyweds. It's just the beginning. You want to love up on each other. You want to enjoy that newlywed phase because there's so many challenges that, you know, that are to come. And I do believe marriages work, but with the right person, it's definitely a job that you are just ecstatic and happy and joyful to wake up and and you know, take charge with every day.
85% of the time. It's like,
You know,
just
you
kidding.
know,
70.
I mean, you know,
Just kidding.
I'm
I
just
love you
saying.
though, because I know you're
I don't want to
listening.
scare
I love you.
anybody. You know, I don't want to scare anybody. But it's work, okay? Girl, be ready to clock in, honey. It's work, you know. But it can be beautiful. It can be beautiful.
Yes, definitely. I'm just messing.
Yeah, you know. So I just wanted to take that time, like, man, you know, travel, get to know things that you didn't know about each other at first, as you know, learn. So it's like, don't feel so pressured to be like, ooh, I'm married, I got to pop this baby out. No.
No,
get to know each
good.
other more, explore the world more, embrace your flaws, because I'm telling you, my relationship with my ex was 10 years. 4 of those we were married, but trust me, during our marriage, there were still things I was learning about him as well as myself. So take that time, because just when you thought you knew everything, trust me, it's always something else. Yeah, you're like, you know, you like that? So
what was that like in terms of, obviously, because I mean, to be with somebody, you said for 10 years. Is that what you said? 10 years?
Yeah, we were college sweethearts. Yeah, met at
that's
that's
deep.
cool.
So I mean, obviously that's not an easy transition. So what was that like? I mean, like, what steps did you have to go through to overcome?
Well, okay, so for me,
and to heal.
Yeah. So just to give parts of the backstory, you know, yes, we met in college. We were college sweethearts. Our relationship just blossomed. It kind of was like out of nowhere. You know, I still had my guard up in the beginning. You know, I had been in a previous relationship where I got hurt. We kind of grew apart. And I was focused on academics. I wasn't thinking about a man, thinking about a boyfriend, whatever. So it was just like his persistence and everything was what just really grasped me. You know, I could brush him off like, yeah, okay. Even when we were just friends, like, oh, you so funny. You know, ladies, y'all know how we do when we really not interested. So we kind of get it. Yeah, all right, he all right. So, and it was just like, he was just so serious, so persistent in showing me like, nah, like, I'm really into you. I'm feeling you, and I really want, you know, to develop something with you. And it did, and it blossomed. And my thing was, as with any relationship, there comes hurdles and growth. So we both set out with ambition and so many goals and things like that. He joined a fraternity, and that was challenging for the both of us. He had to figure out how to balance school, how to balance, you know, his brothers, bros, and everything like that, as well as me having to adjust to him having different obligations and things like that as well. But anyway, so yeah, we went on to get married. And a lot of people would say, like, for those that don't know, okay, I did marry someone who I already had discovered was unfaithful during our relationship. And we did end up separated from him for a year before any marriage or anything was ever thought about. But to give the backstory, yes, I came home early, basically from a trip from seeing family, and it was me and my mother. And yeah, I walked into him having sex with another woman in our bed. Yes. So that was, yeah. And then to have my mom right there, yeah. So that took a lot. Honestly, she lost it before I could even like I kind of blacked out. But I,
Cause mama don't play.
yeah. So,
Dang.
she was the one that went off way more than I did. It was just I was kind of stunned in shock, and yeah, it was wild. Like they literally did not hear us. Come to the house, having a whole conversation and everything from the living room to the bedroom, did not hear us at all. So I stood in my doorway, and yeah, I did. Yeah, he was legs up and all. Yep. So a lot of people were like, oh, hell no, how is she marrying this guy? I believe it was probably, that happened in 2009. I was engaged 2012, married 2013. So just that alone put a lot of pressure on me, especially just self-confidence, self-esteem, worrying about if people were at my wedding really, if they were really happy for us, or if they
Right,
were
and
kind of like
supporting you
being
guys.
nosy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Feeling like to a certain degree I disappointed some of my family members by choosing not to just leave him alone for good. We left each other. Well, I left him alone for a year, and our paths crossed again, and then it kind of rekindled from there. But that was one of my biggest fears. I remember getting married. People were like, they talked about cold feet, things like that, and then brought up, oh, well, yeah, he is, he's in a fraternity, that, you dealt with the groupies. I'm like, yeah, and then now he's in the military because he wasn't when we met, remember? So he, joined the military when I believe right before we got engaged or something. Yes, around that time frame. So then that was another dynamic. You sure you're gonna marry him? Now he in the military, girl. He could be living a double life. So it was just all these things to the point where before we got married, I recommend this for any couple. I was adamant about marriage counseling. Before we even jump the broom, anything. If there's any issues, any insecurities, we need to talk about this, regardless. We need to figure out what, our boundaries, just reach this common ground before we have this huge ceremony and have all these guests, come and support. So we actually went through marriage counseling twice. First through a pastor that I was more comfortable with, and I was familiar with while I was at VSU, and then the second time with a chaplain from the military. So I felt like, we're ready. I felt like I was seeing changes, so it helped me feel way more confident. You know what I'm saying? In this big decision that I was making with someone that I have already experienced a traumatic experience with, and just ridiculous infidelity. So, just to answer your question, Candace, like, yeah, it was very rough. In the beginning, it was this marital bliss. We rekindled that love, and I was all in. But as, the marriage progressed after that 1 year, especially that newlywed phase kind of fizzles, and I started noticing some similar red flags that I noticed before, and it was to the point where, I don't know if you guys ever been in a situation where you start kind of like, it's that denial within yourself. It's like, nah. Nah. And then what and then certain things get so out of control, so ridiculous to where it's like, you didn't even try to hide this really from me. So now what and you're still trying to play mind games to psych yourself out because you don't want to believe that this is happening again, or, every promise and every vow. It's just like, really? Down the drain. You feel kind of distraught. You start to question yourself, which I did. I was just like, man, what the hell is going on? Am I not enough? What are you looking for? And it took a long time for me to realize, hey, some people are just opportunists, especially when it comes to sex and when it comes to easy access and availability of it, and to me, just to be honest, yes, he was one of those people. He was an opportunist. If a girl was down to do whatever and he had the opportunity, the window of time to do it, he was with it. I would go out of town, wouldn't even be gone
Wow.
a day or two, and I would find emails, things like that. Yeah, him saying what he did to females or what he was going to do as far as all different types of stuff, oral sex, just crazy. So I'm just like, what in the world? The divorce was very traumatic as well. I'll be honest. And I really didn't feel the support that I should have had from the military when I did try to bring certain things to light before things really hit the fan in my marriage. Like I tried to reach out. At that time, he was a reservist, and I felt like it wasn't being taken seriously what he was doing. Even when I found out that one of the women was in the military, it was just like I was being brushed off. I felt like it was, one of those situations where they were just trying to protect their own, So
Not even trying to cut you off, but just for any of our listeners out here, like when it comes to the military life and you dealing with a spouse that is, cheating or that infidelity that's going on, the military is not going to help you, y'all. I'm just going to just go ahead and put that out there. If you're the military person, then they're more so to side with you as far as getting that legal advice. But if you're a civilian spouse married to a military person, you have to seek outside help on your own. And it's a sad thing because a lot of people, they are not aware of, like, they think once you get married and you marry a military person that the military is going to cater to you as well. Nope. They're going to care more about that military person and keeping their image and keeping their reputation, their command, afloat rather than that spouse. And it's the spouse's responsibility to seek out a lawyer, to seek out counseling for her own being, So that's just something for our listeners who are not aware that if y'all ever in that situation, don't even think about the military as far as helping y'all when it comes to legal advice.
I mean, I would suggest, if you've done the research to find out who you feel like you need to talk to, I mean, it's worth the effort. But I would just say, I agree with Mary. Don't get your hopes up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying if and when you need to do it, just be grounded. Don't think, oh, they're gonna now this is it. They're going to save me. This situation is going to get 100 times better now because I made such and such call to the commander, to this person, to the battalion. It doesn't matter. Just send your email, do your call, your due diligence. But at the same time, yes, seek resources and assistance outside of the military. And I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I had to do. Especially like during my divorce, I had to seek out a lawyer. I went through so many consultations. It was just ridiculous. And really, and then for my own well-being and security, because I am a survivor of domestic violence. I unfortunately, but yes, so I had to rely on the legal system as well. I had to get a protective order. Once things got out of hand and I realized, hey, this is not the life. I know this is not the life God intended for me to live. And this is definitely not the treatment or marriage God intended me to be in forever. You know what I'm saying? So and everyone, I say this, to each his own, everyone is different as far as breaking points. Like I said, I tolerated a lot of adultery, infidelity, I did. And it was, love is truly blind. It's not just a song, it's not just a saying. It really is blinding because we had a cycle. I would discover, okay, now it's this girl. Who is this? Oh no, why are you sending her this? I didn't send it. It's your email. Like, what do you mean? It's your text message. What are you talking about? So, playing Inspector Gadget, bringing things to the forefront. Okay, then finally he realized, dang, she really know what she know. Let me go ahead and be honest. I get the one or two tears, oh, I'm sorry. And we just went through that cycle. It won't happen again, whatever.
Repeat the cycle, same over and over again.
Cycle. We went from silent treatment, or I'm sleeping downstairs or something, to just feeling like roommates, to next thing you know, getting it right back together.
Pay your bills. Pay
Y'all
your
saw my picture,
bills.
bro.
Pay your bills.
It don't get no rod in that. It don't get no rod in that.
Okay.
Hey.
That's the picture holding you back. That's supposed to like, what?
But Shawna, I do want to ask you, how did y'all finally break out of that cycle? Like, I mean, because for it to be going on,
Woo.
and like,
Candace.
what was that? What was that deciding factor for you?
Yeah.
Was it February 9th, 2016?
Oh, you got dates.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, honey.
Sis, like,
Yeah, yes,
PM.
I'm telling you, because it was just like I saw a side of a person I never even knew existed. Okay, so that date resonates with me, and it's also the date I'm gonna just be real. I remember that date because I honestly thought I was gonna die. Like I thought that was the end for me, and that's why I say domestic violence, domestic abuse is real, and it needs to be taken seriously. So I will forever remember that date because I was left for dead on my living room floor, like no lie.
Shawna.
Yeah. So I remember that date. Yeah, and it was really a traumatic experience. It started off from arguing over Facebook comments and stuff. Mind you, this is a person who was I lost count of the women, to be honest. Like, it was just ridiculous.
Right.
But people would I would post pictures and stuff. Guys would comment and things, but never anything disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. Like, I never like, oh, she got a fat ass, or I like those breasts. It was nothing ever like that. It was more like, you're a beautiful woman, no disrespect or to whoever, to your, husband or anything, but you're gorgeous. Things like that, for the most part. And it was just like, sometimes, I've heard this saying when people say like a guilty conscience will tear you up. And it was to the point where I was constantly being accused of cheating. I was being accused of being with other men, especially once I joined the social club. It was like, oh,
he was projecting.
Yes, you're messing with these bikers. You're doing this.
That reverse psychology on you.
I'm working. I come home every day. My mentality is to cook. To make sure that everything's straight by the time he gets off work. And I'm like, I'm home. Like, what are you talking about? So it just escalated from, you better reach out to them and tell them to delete the comments, or you better delete them before you get home from work. And I'm like, by then I started, I've been through so much, ladies. I had started finding my voice. You know what I'm saying? I was believe it or not, I was very passive aggressive. I bottled so much in, and a lot of it was kind of like shame, disappointment, because I'm like, now I felt stuck in a marriage where people knew when I knew. But early on, he struggled with being faithful. He struggled with commitment. But here I am. I believe that, things are going to be great, smoothed out. We went through counseling, and now this marriage has happened. And, it's a fresh start. And the reality hit, no, that marriage, it's a piece of paper. You get who you get. You know what I'm saying? Some people change, some people do grow, but at the end of the day, for the majority of you know what you're getting. That ceremony, that marriage license is not going to change what's in someone's mind and heart. I will say that. So yes, I didn't. Long story short, I didn't delete the comments, y'all, and so it led to an argument, and I was trying to ignore the situation. Just ignore it. I didn't want to argue. He wanted to go through my phone. I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna go through my phone, we're gonna go through each other's phone. I'm not gonna sit here and watch you go through my cell phone. Give me yours. I'll give you mine. That ended up being the compromise, because I was so tired of the nagging, the accusations, and just so you're not going to delete it. You really not going to, and I'm like, it's just a comment. You're up here, you're having sex with women. You're eating women out. Like, you're blatantly doing all this nonsense. I'm seeing it through screenshots, text messages, emails, like, and you're mad about a comment on Facebook? So my mentality at the time was like, are you serious? You got to be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he didn't find what apparently he was looking for. And it got to the point where he was just reaching. At this point, I'm just like, just take your phone. Because at this point, ladies, I didn't even care to go through his phone again. I already had been crushed enough times and I knew what I knew. So, yeah, he, I tried to snatch the phone back, and we ended up tussling over the phone. And basically, I was pushed, and I flipped over the coffee table and almost hit my head on our glass entertainment stand. At this point,
what?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. At that point, I saw everything from the kitchen table, home decor, everything just flying as I was on the ground. He lost it. He snapped. And it was like I was in the room with the Hulk. My kitchen table went through our glass patio doors. The chairs followed.
Shut up, Shawna.
Yes. I had broken the coffee table when I fell. And all I could do was, at that point, I was in shock. I just screamed. And I just was just like, stop. Please just stop. And I just remember being in fetal position on the ground. And I was thinking, I'm about to die. He gonna kill me. Because he lost it. And I don't even know who this person, at that point, I didn't know who this man was. All these years I've shared with him, I didn't know. So, yeah, basically my phone was broken. It broken in half. He had stormed out. I remember him storming out, and I was still on the ground. Just like, I couldn't move. I literally could not move. I was terrified. And it's not very, like, anybody who knows me, like, yeah, it's for her to say that, because I grew up with, we got a lot of brothers. So, I held my own around the way.
We held our own with them. We did. So, man, oh my God.
Yeah, when he came back, he left something. He came back in, and that's when I really was like, okay, he's going to finish me off, because he's not in his right mind. And so he's just stormed out, left, door open and all. And I finally had just got up, looked around, and I was able to crawl. That's when I saw my phone was broke. And I'm just like, what in the world? And I rushed to a mutual friend's house. Yeah. But it was still crazy, because I felt like at that time, even when his family found out and stuff, they were more concerned about me not calling the police and more concerned about saving his military career than they were, I felt like, about my safety and well-being. So yeah, I had to use my friend's phone to call my loved ones, my family, which are, an hour and a half away, so it's not like they're around the corner, can do anything. And I just remember, ladies, like, I just, grandparents or something, my grandmother, and I was just like, for the life of me, I don't understand why I could not remember my mother's phone number. I couldn't remember the last 2 digits of her number. And so, but I remembered my grandmother's number like the back of my hand. And I had to, so I remember sitting there on my friend's couch, just literally shaking, because I'm just like, I can't believe this just happened, wow, like, I just trying to process everything. And that was not the first time that he had put his hands on me. But it was the first time in a while. So I still was like, what the hell, But anyway, I called my grandmother, and I'm just, at this point, I don't want to get her riled up. She has a heart condition, things like that. I'm just like, trying to put on this persona. And that's another thing, because even throughout the troubles in the marriage, and even through any issues that people are dealing with, sometimes people know how to put on that face. And that's a dangerous game you're playing, You need to talk to your family. You need to really reach out to your loved ones, to a therapist, whoever. Don't keep all that bottled in. I had gotten so numb to a degree when it came to my heart being crushed that I just had this persona where I could just, everything's fine, everything's okay. Our marriage is great. We're going on trips. We're going to Aruba. We're going to Jamaica. And it was just like, as long as we could get that vacation, that out the country experience, I was okay to regroup and wait for the rest, for the bullshit to happen again. You know what I'm saying? So I put on that persona, and I tried my best, y'all. Really, I just remember my grandmother answering the phone. I'm like, hey, hey, grandma, and it was late, and she's like, hey, baby, and I'm like, hey, can you, grandma, what's my mama number? Can you tell me my mom's number? She was like, Shawna. I'm like, just trying to say less as possible because I know I knew,
Right.
rest her soul. I knew how she was, and I knew she was not going to, this was serious. She was not going to play any games, and she was going to be ready to be on the first thing smoking, looking for answers, you know. So I'm just like, yeah. She's like, Deshaun. I'm like, no, girl, I just need my mom number. Everything's fine. Can you just tell me my mom's number, please? Can you please just tell me my mom's number? And she's by the time she said my name the second time, it was a done deal. She
You
was
just
like,
broke
what's
down.
wrong, Deshauna? And I'm like, But then
Yeah.
I couldn't even keep the persona. I couldn't keep the anger, the upsetment, the disappointment bottled up. It was just flowing out of me, and I'm just like in the midst of me crying. I'm just like, can you just give me the number? Because I was just like, what is going on with me? What has happened? What has this happened with my marriage? So I had to it took a lot, ladies. It took a lot. I reached out to a chaplain during our divorce and things like that. I was talking to him like at first on a like maybe like twice a week and stuff. It would go like, just to try to keep my sanity, because I had to, the divorce was drug out so bad. I only requested like 6 months of alimony just to get on my feet, because for anybody it's a challenge when you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship to where you're both sharing bills and things. It's like, I went from like a 60-40 situation to paying 100%. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
just let me get a few months of help, from him, since he wanted to be off the lease. I let him off the lease, no problem. Got you. I honor your wishes. But it was just like he kept appealing spousal support for only 6 months, and I had to keep going back to court. And at this point, he's just sitting there watching a lawyer tear down my character, showing a binder like literally like this thick of my Facebook and social media pictures and things like that. Me at community events.
Wow.
If there was any guy any like a foot away, or even if I hug somebody, it was all in that binder. And it was just, I was painted out as this horrible military spouse who just slept with biker guys and was never home and never cooked and all this and never cleaned. And that was the complete opposite of who I was. Anybody who knows me know I'm old school. My family, I have a Southern background. Anyway, and it's just like, no. Cooking, oh yes, I do. Cleaning, oh yes, the house is clean. Like, I don't, I just wanted, I've always been one of those women where no, when I'm in, I'm all in. My man is not going to want for anything. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, wow. And I'm hearing them tear down my character. It was just terrible. So that's for me, that was the icing on the cake, Candace. Like, when that last time he put his hands on me, and I didn't feel the support, one from the family, from the military, any of that, I was like, yeah, I gotta go. The sorries, the flowers that come after, which did come, it wasn't enough anymore. Because now it's like, how do you go back to someone that literally terrified the hell out of you? How do you sleep at night next to someone when you literally felt like they were going to kill you? And it was so wild because my mom had told me, like, she was like, I still had the recording. Like, she was like, he called me. And I'm like, what? She was like, yeah, he called me a little while after he left. And this is before I could get to my friend's phone. And he was like, yeah, she's probably on her way down there. Or I don't know. I lost it. So she's like, wait, well, hold on. Hello? What are you saying? What are you saying? And she was like, is my daughter alive? Is she alive? And she told me, she said, he was like, I don't know. And so by the time that I was able to call my mom and get the number for my grandmother, she was distraught. She didn't know what the hell was going on, what condition I was in, anything. I just remember her just saying, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Because she thought I was gone. When he said he didn't know, he blacked out. I don't know. But if she is, she probably on her way down there to y'all.
Wow.
So
that's wow, sis. Wow.
Yeah. And believe it or not, marriage counseling was still on the table again after that. That's how I say love is truly blind.
Girl, stop.
It was. Mary, I wanted my marriage. I really did. You know, I always was one of those people that was like, you know, my first marriage is going to be my last marriage. And we both said that to each other time and time again. But when I realized what my first marriage had to offer and what it was doing to me as a woman, as a human being, I knew I didn't want that. But yeah, I did. I put it on the table one more time. And he said, basically it was to hell with the counseling. I'm not going to no more damn counseling. Nah, you can have that. And that's when that was the dagger for me. That was like, yeah, it's really over. It's really over. Because right now, no counseling. We're not talking to anybody. So this is likely to be a repeat situation. Because we have not processed it, you know, correctly as two grown adults. We're not civilized about it, even when it came to the divorce. And I mean, I got my divorce papers randomly. Just one day, I didn't even know he had filed. Even though I knew in my heart, I felt like it was over. We hadn't sat down and said, okay, well, I'm going to do the papers. You'll be getting them. You know, I was just blindsided coming home from work. And I was like, what the hell is this? So, yeah, that's what ended that. Yeah.
Well, sis, I am so glad that you overcame that, overcame all of that, and look at you now. You flourishing, girl. You flourishing. It's clear that you found your purpose. You're continuing with your modeling and stuff.
Yeah.
Just a little disclaimer for our listeners, though. Like, if you guys ever found y'all self in a situation such as my sis, domestic violence is never the key, y'all. And I know, you know, just hearing from Shawna's experience and her story, I know y'all may feel like, you know, you don't know how to leave the situation or something, but you got to be strong and you got to find a way to leave, because it can turn deadly.
Right.
And you know, we don't want that.
Yeah.
So seek the help. You know, it's okay to not be okay. Y'all know we talked about that before. And don't ever feel like you're a bit embarrassed or ashamed, because 9 times out of 10, you'd be surprised how many people are in that same situation or who have gone through that. I mean, look at my sis now. She's overcome that. And you know, before we wrap things up, I did.
Thank you.
Yes, girl. Yes, shine. You shining.
Yes,
you
honey.
is shining.
It was a process, y'all. You know, that's why I say reach out.
And look at God.
That positive energy.
But God.
That positive energy is so real. And when you're going through like that, I'm telling you, if you have people in your corner who can bring and pour into you during your darkest moments, you need to cling to them. You need to hold on to them. You know, and I'll just piggyback off what you said too, because I went through a phase where I shut everybody out. If you weren't my mom, my aunt, pretty much my grandmother, it was a wrap. Like I didn't even it took a minute for me to be comfortable in my own skin and be able to socialize, you know what I'm saying, with other people for a minute, because I had just been so bottled up and I had suffered with depression and anxiety and things like that. And it was just like, I don't even want to be around a crowd, a group, anything. I left my social club. You know, I just felt like the support wasn't what I needed, but also we live and we learn, and I know that I've evolved, I've grown a lot. So it was just like I wasn't into a lot of those things, the things that they were doing that once brought me happiness. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to a point where you're like, you feel like you're fighting for your life, and somebody's worried about matching T-shirts for Myrtle, it's like, y'all can have it. You can have it. And that's just where
Right.
I was in my life at that point. But I just want to say, yeah, don't hold it in. Like Mary said, it is okay to not be okay. And for anybody going through it, just know that you are enough and you are strong enough. You
Yes.
you can overcome it. But I will not sit here and say it's going to be peaches and cream. It's going to be a smooth
No way.
ride, smooth journey. Oh, no, no. And when people ask me, like, Dad, you just shut that down so quick. Yeah. That right there is going to cost me my peace. I fought too hard for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that, like,
Amen.
I'm at the point in my life. No, if it doesn't apply, if it's not bringing me growth, positive vibes, anything like that, and it's more the negative outweighing, honey, I will be ghost so quick. I will remove myself.
So what role does modeling play for you right now? Like in terms of overcoming everything and your happiness? I know you talk a lot about self-love and getting back. Like what role does that play for you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Modeling has helped boost my self-esteem so much, boost my confidence. The amazing network of people that I've met, Candace, has been just overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Modeling it just flourished for me from doing fashion shows, New York Fashion Week, magazines and things like that. It's like, wow, each time it's like, oh my God, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Go get a photo.
Right?
Yes, honey. I'm telling you, it started from there, and with each project and each opportunity that comes my way that I've taken, that I've been fortunate to be a part of. It's just like, man, thank you, God. This is a blessing. I'm always humbled by each experience because I knew I know what it's like to feel broken. You know what I'm saying? To feel like,
Right.
I'm not enough. I'll never be enough. Nobody ever want me. I've been at that place. I've been at that low, to where it was an exercise that I used to do with the chaplain. This is how I knew I was reaching some personal growth, and feeling better about myself. Initially, he would have me go stand up and I would have to face the mirror. I would have to say positive affirmations, positive things about myself. And in the beginning, I'm not going to lie to you. I had nothing. I had not one thing to say. And I would stand there in silence before I would leave, because we would do this exercise before I would leave and we would end the session. And I would be in tears because every time I looked in that mirror initially, I saw this worthless, broken person, this shell of a woman who just had lost the backbone she had, the courage she had, the ambition. And I would just cry.
Right.
And it would be so silent. And he would just stand there and watch me. And I'm just like, I just need a minute. Like, you would think somebody was looking back or somebody was on the side of me saying, oh, you ain't nothing. You ain't going to be nothing. And that was the way I would look at my own reflection. Like I was nothing.
Wow.
So,
Girl, you got me over here tearing up.
Girl, I'm trying to tear
I know. I'm trying to keep it like, oh my goodness.
I know.
Wow.
And that's why I just have to get it out, because I'm like, when people don't understand like how far I come, they're like, you always smiling, you always bubbly, you always got so much joy. And it's just like, I fought for this, man. I fought for my life. I fought for just the opportunity to be talking to you guys. I fought for it. You daggone right. I'm a smile. I'm gonna wake up with joy in my heart because I know what it was like not to have it. And I fought. So it's like no one will take that peace away from me, that joy away from my heart, because
Oh my God.
it was meant for me. I'm sorry, God.
Lord.
But yeah, so
Got the tears for Lord.
I know. I didn't mean for this, but like, I'm still healing. I'm still evolving. I'm still growing. Hurt people. And this is why it's important that people don't bottle things up and act like everything's okay and have a facade. Because internally, you'll lash out and you'll you'll miss out on your
Right.
blessings because you're so hurt and you don't see them. You don't even see them coming. When God is trying to bless you and provide you with better, you know, it's hard to see it when you feel broken and you feel worthless. So I knew that I was evolving and I was growing, and a lot of it was happening through my modeling because I was starting to look at myself and I'd be like, oh my God, that's, now you see what I mean. Well, that's me. I didn't see that
Right.
broken little girl that I felt look back at me. I didn't see that anymore. I didn't feel worthless. I felt like I was worthy of every opportunity that came my way. I felt like I was worthy of every photo shoot, every one runway slay. Modeling has been my passion because it has allowed me to look at myself in a different light and to grow
Yes.
and to meet some wonderful people. And every time I'm networking, you know, they say, you know, oh my God, your energy, because I want everybody around me to feel as blessed as I feel, to feel as humbled as I feel, to feel the joy in their heart that I feel. So I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it because
Yes.
everybody should wake up and everybody should, whatever they're doing, whether it's your job, your career, your, you know, a hobby, your passion, you should feel that with so much joy and love that, you know, it's contagious. It's just contagious. And
Right.
that is how I wake up every day. You know, and I'm not perfect. I have my days, but now when I look in the mirror, I'm reminded you're you don't look how you used to look. You didn't wake up how you used to feel when you know, on those days. You know, you didn't wake up feeling super depressed, anxious, wondering if you were going to live to see the next day and why God kept you, you know?
Yes.
So it's just important that, you know, keep that energy flowing and share it, share it, share it. Because it could save a life. It really could. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
modeling is your purpose, and I'm glad you found your purpose, sis. I'm glad that
Yes,
that,
yes.
that little light that was not
Yeah.
working at the moment, it began to shine, and you are shining, and I am so proud of you,
Thank
like,
you.
for you to go through all of that, and then sometimes go through it alone and still put on
Yeah.
a image to make it seem like everything's okay. I'm so proud of you, sis. Like, you don't understand. You know, thank you for sharing your experience, for sharing your
Yes.
testimony with us,
Yes.
because, you
Oh, you're
know,
welcome.
we really appreciate it, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you're helping some of our listeners right now, because I'm without a doubt, I'm sure that some have been in the same situation
Yeah.
or are still going through it. You know, they say God will give his toughest battles to his
Yes.
strongest people, and since you are strong, so I
Yeah.
want you to keep shining. Don't let that light dim at all. Keep
Oh,
shining,
no.
continue modeling, because that's your purpose. And I love
Yes.
you, sis.
I love you too. Yes. You and Candace are
Oh.
awesome. You're so awesome. Yes. I'm telling you, it's truly a blessing. Yeah. And people should, one thing too, give yourself more credit than what you are, than what you have been in the past. I know a lot of people who have done great things or who have overcome great things, and they just don't give themselves the credit that they're due. And so I would just
Yeah.
advise, you know, love on yourself, spread that love, and give yourself the true credit that you deserve. Because, hey, we're all fighting battles out here, and the next person may not be
Yes.
privy to that information or understand what's going on, but your story could save a life, your testimony could save a life, and your growth, not just, you know, the hard times, but the way you've come out of it, the positive energy that you're putting into yourself and spreading to others, it can mean the world to someone, you know.
Exactly.
So just know.
Exactly.
And I know. That's why I say I know I've healed a lot and I've grown a lot because our paths have crossed again, and I wasn't bitter, I wasn't distraught. I was cool. Yeah, and it was
That's
actually
awesome.
in church. Yeah, I saw
Look at
him and his
God. Look
wife.
at God.
Yep, his new wife and a baby, which she was pregnant with during our divorce. Well, you find out things after the fact,
Wow.
but it was so many reasons why I could have been so bitter and you know, acted out, made a scene. And it was just like, nah. You know, part of me, my spirit wanted to really just be like, tap her on the shoulder, like, thank you. You know, thank you. Because had he not cheated the last time, got her pregnant, sent me those divorce papers, in my mind, I know my reality would have been, I would have found a reason to justify going right back and being head first into that cycle again. So I knew that, you know, I had to be hurt really traumatically in order to let that love go. I'm just thankful that it didn't cost me my life. But yeah, and that's how you know you've grown. You can wish that person well and nothing but success and keep it moving. Honey, you know, you are a true winner, and you know, God's light is still shining on you. So, yeah.
Yes.
Have that courage if you are in that situation. Don't be afraid. And you are not alone. Don't ever think that you are alone in any situation that you go through.
Right.
You know?
There are many resources out there, so just got to take advantage of them.
Many.
Yes.
And always, you know, for those, keep your faith intact. You know, keep your faith intact. You'll overcome. Yeah.
And speaking of faith, something that we like to put faith into is our affirmation that we like to say daily.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I guess we can go ahead and get into this affirmation because first of all, Shawna, I just once again want to say thank you because that was just an amazing story.
You're
and
welcome.
Like I said, I think it was very valuable and very meaningful to a lot of our listeners. I don't even think you understand the magnitude of that. So I'm just glad you're willing to share it because some people, like you said, will be holding that in and basically keep withholding that blessing from somebody else, you know, to hear that information. So we appreciate that.
Yep.
But I guess I can go ahead and start then, huh? I am enough.
Go ahead. I have the power to create the life I desire.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I am worthy of my dreams.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I am worthy of my dreams.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, thank you, sis. It was so great to have you today.
Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate being on your podcast and being able to really, you know, share my story and provide some growth for those who are going through it, you know. Yeah. And that's why my fragrance, hey, unbreakable. Because, we're not broken.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that?
I'm going to try it out. Next time you need to bring it on the show so we can show it. Bring it on the show
honey,
next time.
I stay ready. Wait a minute.
Oh,
there we go.
She ready.
This is the 40 years, honey. We got this.
Okay, you go check it out.
You ain't saying nothing but a thing. Girl, what? Unbreakable, yes. These are the new bottles. Yes, honey.
That's right, sis.
I stay ready. So
look at that.
Yes.
I'm gonna make another purchase tonight.
Girl, love you. But yes, it's on sale right now. And that's by Shawna Valentine, Unbreakable, and trust me, I realized, the pieces were put back together, very different, but I wasn't broken down. I wasn't broken completely, so they were still there. They just needed rearranging, honey. But ShawnaMZValentine.com. Check me out, and thank you. You Candace, girl, you ain't know. I stay ready. I stay ready a minute.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll catch y'all on the next episode. And remember, shine, sis. You got this.
You got this, girl.
You got this. You are enough.